We're recapping work on my LEGO city spanning 9 different days and more than 20 hours. We began by installing working streetlights, which had been purchased from AliExpress. These already integrated lights aren't genuine LEGO bricks, but we'll make an exception to our strict LEGO-only rule, as working with these is a lot easier than wiring our own. Another change was swapping the brick bank with the corner garage. All of this progress was live streamed on Twitch, and you're always welcome to come hang out while we're building. The north side is seedier, grittier, and less wealthy than other areas, but it's a vital transport and logistics hub. The SkyDock is where ships offload their cargo onto freight trains waiting on the siding below, which then make their way towards the mainland. The train and monorail station is likewise a busy transport link, both intra-city but also to other destinations outside of MonoTown. The tram line is built by building city streets made of LEGO bricks. This lets us embed the tram line, which both looks cool, but also saves a lot of space on the city table. The only downsides here are cost and the fact that we had to demolish everything and start over. Oh yeah, and the fact that I hate tiling large areas. But well, we got through it. The angled facade of the garage is also better for the elevated railway. The curve of the railway flows much more naturally here than when the bank was here with its square footprint. We're also going to modify the corner garage to no longer be a garage, as I didn't feel like it fit into the motif of this area of the city. The second level, or as we say in Scotland, the first floor, is the railway and monorail station, and we're making several changes here too. We're converting the main line to a double track configuration and will eventually electrify it for use by 12-volt trains. I think watching 2 trains run around in opposite directions will be really fun, and we have plenty of space, I think, to handle the double track line. We're also moving the seawall back a bit. Originally, I built the seawall out, just like we did on the south side, to better accommodate and hide the curve of the railway. I also thought it would add some visual interest, but instead it just blocked views of the city, and with the street next to the seawall being removed, I wanted to make sure that you could see and access buildings that might be placed there. We're going to experiment with a diagonal section of the seawall as well, which will restore some of that visual interest and give a different flavor to this side of the city. These changes meant we needed to effectively rebuild the entire seawall again. Hopefully, this will be the last time for a while. The seawall is that big gray wall in the background, but it's not just any wall. It protects MonoTown from the cataclysmic rise in sea levels brought on by global warming. The city managed to preserve a handful of transit links, mostly by rail, via tunnels that eventually arrive at the new mainland. And as one of the only surviving port cities post-ecological collapse, MonoTown is a key conduit for shipping and commerce. Here we're adjusting the height of one of MonoTown's most popular eateries, Pepe's Pizza, purveyor of incredible handmade coal-fired pizzas. There's a rumor that the apartments above are home to a mysterious superhero as well. Some say it might be Spider-Man, but we aren't quite sure. Now it's time to begin reconstruction of the L, or elevated railway. This structure not only needs to look good, it has to actually support quite a bit of real-world weight, so care is taken to make sure that we're achieving both our aesthetic and practical goals. The widened area for the bus and taxi rank could be problematic. It requires a longer span and less support, but we're reasonably confident that it will hold up. One thing that I'm particularly satisfied with is how the double-track rail line is looking. It took a bit of work to settle on the right width between the rails, but we eventually ended up on a 4-stud separation. And now it's time to turn on the streetlights. I think they turned out great, and I'm looking forward to incorporating more of them across the city. With the initial supports in, it's now time to add cross bracing, which significantly adds to the stability of the L. Here we're test fitting the original platforms to give us a feel for spacing and what will need to be changed. Now it's time to begin laying out the supports for the SkyDock, which is above the rail and monorail station. Because the SkyDock is so large, we need to make it removable for maintenance, access to the interior of the city, and even things like dusting. Widening the SkyDock wasn't quite as simple as adding a few more bricks. We had to rework and strengthen the internal bracing, as we can't risk it falling apart while we're moving it or working on it. You can see here just how much wider the reconstructed SkyDock has become. It can now accommodate two reasonably large ships side by side, and the massive Monkey Kid cargo ship now easily fits with space to spare. Finally, the first test fit, and things are starting to look good. Now it's time to build the bracing and cross bracing that will support the SkyDock and hold it securely in place. We attach rails to the bottom of the SkyDock, and thankfully, everything fits together on the first try. It's easy to remove, but when in place, it's not only secure, it actually acts to reinforce the entire structure, which is remarkably stable. Now we just need to extend the SkyDock to meet the recently moved back seawall. You can see that right now, the buildings behind the seawall are supported by a hodgepodge of unbuilt Lego sets. That will all change soon though to a mixture of Duplo and Lego bricks. Now that the SkyDock is rebuilt, it's time to rework the gantry crane, which will need to be extended and widened as well. This gantry crane needs to be tall enough for ships to sail beneath, and strong enough to hoist heavy containers and place them on the freight trains far below. This particular crane is a mock, or my own creation, and makes use of a studs not on top, or SNOT, method of construction. The SNOT method of construction is often used for aesthetics, but it can also help build structures that would be otherwise too fragile. Now it's back to working on the L and that double track curve. The spacing and geometry is tricky here, not only for the track, but also for the supports beneath. We remove the gas pump, or, as we say in Scotland, the petrol pump, and the extra space makes for a very natural extension to our support system. Now it's back to working on the tram line, which needs to push towards OldTown, which is situated on the northwest end. The tram line will curve through a city square, which was inspired by the concert layout we built for our Halloween concert, and this area will feature pedestrian-only cobblestone streets, something we've never attempted before. And if I thought I hated tiling, well, I really hate, cobblestoning. It's super tedious, but well, in the end, the effort seems worth it. The cobbles bring visual interest and should make the curve of the tram line look natural. Back to the L in the train and monorail station. It's time to fit in a platform which will serve both the rail line and the monorail line. One thing we need to take into account is the placement of the support pillars. It can make this build a little tricky, so there's a lot of trial and error here. Thankfully, our Twitch chat is supportive as always. The platform is built using the SNOT method because I wanted to incorporate a thin yellow warning line. This effect looks super sharp and I wanted to keep that feature. Because the new layout involves the rail line making the turn behind the seawall, we have a lot more space for a much longer platform, so we get to work extending it. The SkyDock goes back on top and we add a walkway for workers and small vehicles. Finally, after 9 streams and more than 20 hours, we've finished this massive rebuild. Let's check out the finished product. I'm super happy with the end result. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun, and I especially enjoyed hanging out with other LEGO fans while streaming this entire project. Want to build with us live? Check us out on Twitch.